Okay, we're going to turn over quickly to Matthew chapter 18. We've been talking about childlike faith the last several weeks, and the first week we talked about how children just see things differently than adults do. And children are really filled with a lot of wonder and amazement at life, and adults unfortunately get so used to things, they just get kind of in the grind, I guess you'd call it, and tired of doing the same thing day in, day out. But kids aren't like that. And we want to come to Jesus like children because Jesus tells us that we should. And it says this in Matthew 18, beginning in verse 1. It says, "At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and said, 'Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' And he called a child to himself and set him before them, and said, 'Truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven.'" So last week we talked about dreams and how children have big dreams. I'm sure most of you have been to a preschool graduation before, but every time I go to one, I laugh, whether it was my kids years ago or now with grandchildren. They'll always do the little mic, the open mic thing with the preschoolers and say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I remember Michael at his. He was super cute. We have a really cute graduation picture of him from preschool. But everyone was like, all the boys were like astronaut, fireman, policeman, doctor, whatever, and all the girls had all their things that they were saying, teacher this, whatever, and mixes of things. And then Michael said, "I want to be a daddy." That's what he said. But he said it with such conviction that everyone in the whole place just laughed. It was just super funny. But kids are just like that. They just are kind of there. They have these ideas of what they want to do, and it's just kind of their thing. And so I wanted to read a quick, it's a little story actually, about dreams. And this really goes back to last week. And then this week we're going to talk about enthusiasm. But these two things are tied together because children have dreams about what they want to do and what they want to be. And last week we were talking about not allowing people to, really throw a wet blanket on our dreams. And you know how that is with children especially. Sometimes children want to do something and then people try to, help them to be more realistic. And this is a little story like that. This story comes from Jack Canfield. I think he did all of those Chicken Soup for the Soul books. I think he was one of the guys that did those. But this is the story. I'm glad I brought glasses up here because the print is a little small. He tells about a young high school student whose father was a horse trainer. Because the family had to follow the horse racing season, the young boy had to change schools throughout the year. During his senior year, he was asked to write a paper about what his dreams for the future were. His paper described his dream of owning a 200-acre horse ranch with stables and tracks and a 4,000-square-foot home. He even drew a diagram of the property and the design of his house. He turned the paper in, and 2 days later, it came back with an F on the front and a note to see the teacher. After class, the teacher explained to the boy that his dream was unrealistic. The teacher said that if the boy rewrote the paper with a much more realistic dream, he would reconsider the grade. The boy went home and asked his father what to do. "It's your decision," said the father. Dad knew this was a very important decision. The boy kept the paper for a week and then returned it to his teacher after class. "Here," the boy said, "you can keep the F, and I'll keep my dream." The teacher was a dream stealer. And it's important for us to understand in life that those dreams that are in our hearts from the time we're young, it's kind of like what Jason was talking about today with the shield of faith. There's a lot of things that oppose us in life. There's a lot of things that come against us. There's a lot of thoughts and people and words and different intentions that people have when they oppose us. There's a lot of things that the enemy is doing to try to trip us up in life. But one of the things that he wants to attack in our lives is the dream that God has placed in our heart. A lot of times people will think, oh, the enemy's attacking me. Sometimes I don't think he's actually just even attacking me or attacking us just as people. He's attacking what we have within us in terms of dreams, in terms of potential, in terms of God's purpose. And he knows that when he steals a dream from you, he steals a great amount of potential from you. And it's unfortunate that there are people in the world that go about being dream squashers, stealers, extinguishers, discouragers, and those people will always be there. But we have to really maintain. The Bible says, it says, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. And when people start pecking away at your dreams, at your optimism, at your faith in God, all of those springs start to dry up. And we have to just be so careful to really guard those dreams. And today we're going to talk about really kind of the same thing, which is enthusiasm. It's not really talking about dreams, but it's talking about the enthusiasm of life that children have. And I just love the way children play. I'll see my grandkids and their friends play in my house, and they're just, well, I love it sometimes. I love it when I see they're just excited about things, and they make up a game. Have you ever watched kids make up a game? It just comes out of nowhere. And all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, you're the bad guy, you're the good guy, you're the cop, you're the whatever it is, and all of a sudden there's this chaos and this running through the house and darts shooting around and, people being tackled and chased, and they do it with such zeal and such enthusiasm. In fact, the word for enthusiasm that's in the Bible that really talks about spiritual enthusiasm, it's that zeal, it's that word that's used to really encapsulate a sense of enthusiasm and a sense of excitement about life rather than just kind of a blah, blah, blah. How many ever get the blahs in life? You do the same thing, you get up, you go to work, you do your thing, you go through things. How many of you notice that time starts passing awfully quickly when you do the same things over and over again? And one of the things that enthusiasm does with children is it changes the pace of things. It changes the picture of what this day is going to look like. It changes from, I've got to just do this, and this. Emily was telling me this the other day. I was just telling someone this, that she's like, she graduates in a few weeks. And we were out one night and she just said to me, Dad, I don't think I want to be an adult. Yeah, heck no, right? No, who does? Because what? She knows what's coming. She's going to have that job. She's going to get into that, pattern of life, less control and freedom over time, all of those things that can happen. And I just said to her, you don't have to be if you don't want to be. And that's true, isn't it? We don't have to. And by that, I don't mean we don't have to grow up, because we obviously all do. And she will be an adult, whether she wants to be or not. But she doesn't have to pick a course of action in life that gets into that same old thing that people get into. And kids are great at fighting that off. Okay, so probably about a month ago, I went in to do a rental inspection at one of my houses with a city inspector, only to find that the guy who lived there had set my kitchen on fire. Now, he didn't, bother to call me and tell me about this or anything. But one day I was over at his house, and I thought about enthusiasm with him, because he had a dog, and I was like, it's an old dog. I don't know how old it was, but it's pretty old. Bumping into things, how they get where they can't see, they can't hear and stuff. But he really loved this dog. And I knew he'd had another dog, and that dog had died. And I said, oh, yeah, I remember you lost a dog. And he said, yeah. And he had lost this other dog like 6 months ago. And I said, yeah, that's really sad that you lost him. He said, yeah, I still haven't gotten the money together yet to cremate him. You know how people really like animals a lot? Have you noticed that about some people? They're like crazy about their animals. And I was thinking, your dog died 6 months ago. What do you mean you haven't had the money to cremate him? I'm thinking, where's the dog? And I dared to ask. And of course, we were in the kitchen, so he opened the freezer, and there was his dog. He was hanging on to it to cremate it. And I thought, I'm going to have to get rid of that refrigerator. I don't know that I could. and he sees